Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm from the Academic Success Center. My name is Dana Graham, and I am coming to you from the EDC Library. And we have the ASC Academic Success Center at both Winnipeg campuses, Notre Dame and EDC in the library. So this is the fourth presentation in our series, Understanding How You Learn. And this topic today is procrastination and learning. And this is a very valuable, important, and common topic that I think all of us have an invested interest in, at least at one point of our lives. And so hopefully today you'll learn a little bit about what procrastination is, what it isn't, and how to minimize it. Again, here's a little bit more about me, my name, and my email. So after this presentation, you can reach out to tutoring@rrc.ca or to myself, and my email is here, or you can come down to any of the libraries, either of the libraries. I want to take a moment to pause and to consider and reflect on the land that our campuses are residing on. We're on the original lands of the Anishinaabe, the Innuak, the Anishinaabe, the Dakota and Dene peoples, and we're on the homelands of the Red River Métis Nation. Okay, as mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about what procrastination is, healthy ways to manage feelings that lead to procrastination, and what can we do? What are some strategies that we can use whenever we feel procrastination coming on? Okay, so this is because this is a recording, we will have limited engagement, but I want you to really think about these questions. If you have a sticky notes nearby or a notes app on your phone, you can join in with some of your quiet answers here. There we go. Here are some questions to prompt us to thinking about procrastination. Have you ever been over-involved in other commitments other than college or whatever you were doing at the time, which override your academic life or your school life? Have you had feelings of guilt? Have you felt guilty for neglecting other obligations for study and schoolwork? Have you been confused about an assignment, the instructions on your assignments? For example, the nature and scope of essay requirements or how to incorporate reference material. So what is the theme here? You know, for those of us who are really well organized and committed to a goal, there may have been a lot of hours that we have wasted on things unrelated to priorities or tasks. Or we've just had to juggle a lot of different priorities as well. And some things we put heavier weight on and some things we put less weight on. Sometimes procrastination isn't about our organizational skills at all. It's we don't know how to begin or where to start, as in the third point here of a student looking at an assignment and not knowing what to do. So they freeze and they don't do anything. And in that situation, then they're starting the ball of the process of procrastination. And in many, many cases, I want to point out that procrastination isn't always a sign of a serious problem. It's something that we all give into at one point in our lives. So what is procrastination really about? And why do we do it? So think about, I'm going to give you a minute here to think about what ways students procrastinate. What do we think it is about? And why do we procrastinate? Okay, so what I want to highlight here is that procrastination isn't necessarily it's not necessarily a time management issue, it's a self-regulation issue. And Sometimes we avoid doing something because we're not interested in the task, or there's something else drawing our attention to something. So we give in to feel good, despite knowing that there are negative consequences of procrastinating. We still do it anyways because of that short-term goal. We're avoiding something that we don't really want to do. So here, I want to share a college example. So probably in your college life here, you might be assigned group work in, for example, a PD course. So let's look at someone in your class or in your group work who delays the task they're working they need to perform, and therefore their teammates not only have to do their own parts, but they also have to do your part, or the part of the person not doing their tasks. If there isn't enough time, you both end up not doing well or scoring poor on the assignments. So what are the consequences here? One is very, very obvious about the failed mark or the low mark. But what other implications here? So here, there are a few things. Productivity and efficiency is compromised. Teamwork can be a really good opportunity to work well together and to make the most of your strengths and to do a really, really good job on something. Um, some people work even better in teams on assignments than working individually. Relationships, they can be strained within the team if somebody is not doing their part. Poorer grades, of course, lower grades, and also it's a missed opportunity to build and to hone those soft professional skills that we value here, like collaboration, communication, interpersonal skills. Um, so when you're part of a team and you procrastinate, it's like being on a team sport. Not only does it impact you, but it impacts others, and you miss that learning opportunity from that assignment as well. So how would we define procrastination? Sometimes people are they're very productive in areas that they should not be working on, or not their priority areas. We are often productive doing something else when we procrastinate on a necessary task. The root origin, to look at the roots of the word procrastination, it means to put off until tomorrow. So the negative side of procrastination is that when we reflect and have the self-awareness on our action, we have a double negative here. We are aware, we know that we're avoiding the task. We can look at our course outline, we can hear the instructor say when the assignment is due, but we still um, hesitate or pause or not start the assignment. We will have to do it eventually, of course, but what if life gets in the way? So what we're doing is we're prolonging the inevitable and making a shorter time frame that we have to do the task. Work, the quality of the work might be compromised, and the stress is also elevated within us. If we know we have to do something tomorrow, there's a lot more stress than thinking, oh, I have 3 weeks to work on this and I can do a little bit each day and really put thought into it and self-edit and talk to my instructor about it. So one psychologist, he scratches his head kind of at why we procrastinate. And he says, it doesn't make sense to do something we know will have negative consequences, but we do it anyways. So why do we procrastinate? Well, first of all, when we're looking at the definition, we want at the ASC, we want you to know that it's not laziness. Again, as I mentioned, a lot of people are very productive doing other things. It's not necessarily a time management issue. You can have the best calendar keeping schedule and block out your time perfectly to tend to all your tasks. But if that 8 a.m. start time happens and you're not doing the work, you're thinking about something else, or you're on your phone, or you're cleaning, you're not, you've had that organization tool, but you're still procrastinating. So what science tells us, it's really a mood regulation issue. And that's what I alluded to a little bit earlier in this session. Procrastination as an emotion regulation problem. So I like, this is the psychologist that I was referring to, and he and a colleague, they highlight that procrastination isn't a unique character flaw. So again, this is something we all do, and it's not about our inability to manage time. It's about us not feeling good about a task. Some researchers, some researchers define procrastination as a form of self-regulation failure, characterized by the irrational delay of tasks despite potentially negative consequences. So this is what I've been saying. That's a lot to think about. So let's bring it to an emoji level for us. So look at these icons and think about what words come to mind when you look at each one. Okay, I'm going to name them for you, and I'm sure you all have them correct. But we have, I'm starting from the top left, boredom, anxiety, insecurity, frustration. The bottom row is we have self-doubt or resentment. Sorry, we have resentment and then self-doubt. So emotion is driven by a feeling. Sometimes we are afraid of how difficult the task will be. So we're looking at a big project and we have anxiety about thinking of it. And sometimes the anxiety is I'll talk about tips in a minute, but sometimes thinking about something is worse than actually sitting down and doing it. Our thoughts about it are worse than the action. So what can we do about these feelings, right? When we're not feeling good about an assignment or a project or studying for an exam, when our brain is trying to stop us from doing a task that will help us in the long run, doing your assignment is going to give you so much knowledge, will help you increase your grade, and will better your skills when you go into industry. So when our brain is trying to stop us from doing that long-term benefit, we need to ignore the feeling we have and just start working on the task. One thing that does help people is imagining how good it'll feel to finish the task and hand it in or upload it into Learn. And sometimes seeing that end, thinking about that end feeling can motivate people to begin. Again, on the emotional side, procrastination is short-term mood repair. So again, we give in to feel good. We do, right? This is why we procrastinate, because we feel good in the short term. We think, oh, good, I'm not going to work on that now. That's what I didn't want to do. But we're only prolonging the inevitable. So really we are, when we're procrastinating, we're managing negative moods. That's what we're doing here. Okay, so think of something that you're procrastinating on. You probably are well familiar now with your course outlines and your assignments. And there might be something upcoming next week that you should have started and you haven't started. So think about that task. So why are you procrastinating? Is it because of the task itself? It's unpleasant, it's boring, it's not really your strength, your core strength. What about sometimes it helps to reflect deeper and think about our deeper feelings related to the task, such as, do we have self-doubt in that project area? Do we have low self-esteem? Do we have anxiety? All of these feelings only add to the negative associations we have with the task. And those feelings will be there whenever we come back to it, along with increased stress and self-blame. And I really want to highlight that. We think, oh, I'll put this off until later and I'll feel better. But often those feelings they're going to follow you, and they'll be right there unless you resolve them. With this, I will talk a little bit about tutoring supports and writing supports after, because this is why the Academic Success Center exists. For this person here who's sitting saying, I don't have the writing skills to work on this assignment. And we have writing tutoring and content tutoring for free for students here in the library. Okay, here are some other causes of procrastination. Sometimes we overestimate how much time we have on a task. We think, oh, okay, that's not due until December. I have lots of time, but time moves quickly when you have a lot of courses, a life outside of college, maybe work, maybe you're taking care of family. There's a lot that you are working through and working on. So, time, we might have that illusion of a lot of time. Sometimes we underestimate how long activities will take to complete. We think, I can do this in 1 hour, but really it's a lot deeper and more involved than we think. Again, I mentioned this before, we don't know how to start. We think we need to be inspired or motivated before we start. I'll talk a little bit more on that. Again, that present bias, I want to feel good now in the present, so I'm going to not do something. Or we really don't want to do the task. These are some causes that we have. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the motivation piece. So that'll come up in a second. But again, I keep coming back to this question. So why do we do it? If we know it has negative consequences and we'll feel the same way when we do get to the task, again, it's that momentary relief. We're rewarded for procrastinating in the moment. So what can we do? What does science, what does research say? It does not necessarily involve going to a time management app or learning self-control, self-regulation strategies. The solution lies in managing our emotions in a new way. So I'm going to share 8 quick strategies for us that you can employ. And I hope that one of these strategies will really resonate with you and that you'll think on it and try it. Okay, so first of all, the solution must be internal. Try and be passionate about your assignment and the work that you're doing. And I know we're rewarded with grades, we're rewarded with feedback from instructors, but really, all of us should look at taking pride in the work that we do. So try and internalize that appreciation for the task. I really like this one, number 2, focus on what's next. Sometimes this tethers really nicely with number 3 and breaking things up into small actions. So if you think too much about something, if you think, oh, should I do it? Should I not do it? Already you're giving your brain the option of saying, nope, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to do it. But if you say, what's the next thing? You're sitting down and doing the work. So the minute, a bit of a personal story, I love running, and I will run in -40 in the dark at 6 a.m. And some mornings that's not a very appealing thing to do. But I don't give myself the option. I have my running shoes by the door, I have my running gear by the door, and I know that afterwards I'm going to feel really good about this run. So instead of waking up and thinking, should I run? Should I not run? I just say, what's the action? Put my running shoes on. I have my roots. I'm out the door. So always think about what's next. And this is where a writing tutor can help you, or we have peer tutors. We have exceptional peer tutors, exceptional writing tutors, exceptional staff tutors who are here to help you, and they can help you with that what's next. Break things up into small actions. It's really hard to sit down for 4 hours and think, I'm going to write a 5-page research paper. But it's really easy to say, I'm just going to find one source from the library. I'm going to talk to a librarian and say, I need one periodical or one article or one professional source or peer-reviewed source to start reading. That's your action. That's all you have to do. Or sit down and work on your thesis statement. Or open up your textbook and say, I'm going to do one question, that's it. So it's like back to my running. If I want to do a 90-minute run, and I'm not motivated, I will tell myself I'm going to do 10 minutes. And that I never stop at 10 minutes. I get into the rhythm of it and I really appreciate it. And try this with your task. Again, sometimes it's thinking about something that is harder than actually doing the something. So break it up into manageable chunks And you'll see that once you start doing something, you'll get into the flow and the rhythm of it, and you won't want to stop. So that's tip number 2 and number 3. Oh, and the last piece about also is breaking things up into small tasks. It's really interesting because you progress a lot quicker than you really think. It's when you check off a bunch of tasks, it adds up to a larger sum. So it's an upward spiral of productivity. Okay, place obstacles in front of procrastination temptations. So this is a big one. I know many students, what they do is they don't take homework home if they can help it. They know that they study best, they work best on campus, they have their quiet spot here, they work in the library, for example, and they know when they go home, they want to work on self-care, they want to spend time with their family. So they compartmentalize their areas. So they know that if they try and do homework at school, there's going to be too many distractions. So place obstacles. If scrolling on your favorite apps is a time waster for you or prevents you from doing something, physically put your phone somewhere else. Make healthy behaviors convenient. So number 5, this is like me putting my running shoes and my -40 running gear by the door. It's very convenient for me. So think about how you can make task completion easy, convenient, and enjoyable. And it might be working with a tutor. It might be going to your favorite coffee shop and having a special coffee when you're sitting down to work on something. So make something convenient, pair it with something. That's tip number 8 that I'll come to. And number 6, I mentioned this earlier as well, but connect if you're really having trouble with an assignment or a project or a paper, or studying for something, preparing for a test. Connect with college support. This is, the college wants you to succeed. And they've set up so many different facets of success for you, or outlets of success, and your instructors can be people you go to for more help. Our tutoring team, if you're in math and accounting, we have group review workshops. We have drop-in tutoring sessions, which are fantastic, and we have a staff tutor who is in the library at certain times of the week to help in specific areas, such as trades math, electrical courses, writing specialists, English language specialists, nursing. So we have math and accounting. So look at the Academic Success Center website and see, because again, sometimes we work better with others, and having somebody there who can help us practice or explain things in a different way can really help move us along in a healthy way. Number 7, this is an interesting one. This is a bit of psychology, but sometimes we say, I have to work on my assignment. I have to study. And what if you change the wording and you say, I get to? Like, I get to go for a run. My body is able to go for a run. I get to work on this paper that will help me build my knowledge base or demonstrate what I know. I get to do this group project where I can learn from my peers. So the minute you say I get to, there's an appreciation that, wow, I appreciate what I did to get to college, and I appreciate college. And it's short term, so I'm going to do my best while I'm here and really take in this moment. And the last piece is pair things together. And I mentioned this before, about can you work at your favorite coffee shop? Can you listen to your favorite quiet music in the background? Does that help you? I know for myself, I used to study while I ran, and I would give myself a question, and then I'd run a lap and answer that question as I ran. So is there a way that you can pair, if you have family at home and you don't see them as often as you'd like because you're busy with school, can they quiz you? Can they ask you, some of your questions from your cue cards or your index cards? Can they, talk to you about what you're learning and you explain things with them? So is there ways that you can pair things together? So those are a few tips. Okay, we talked a bit about mood. So I really like this quote here. You don't need to feel good to get going. You need to get going to give yourself the chance to feel good. So often we say, I have to be in the mood to do something. So here's a picture to demonstrate this. But we say, I'm going to, as I mentioned before, we say, I'll do this later when I'm feeling like I want to do this. But what are the chances that we'll feel differently at that point? So we think that um, action follows mood, that we have to feel a certain way and then the action will come. But what if we flip that script? And what if we say mood follows action? That is a game changer. That really can shift how we work. So if you think about it, the brain doesn't like dissonance. So if you're doing something, the brain is going to say, wow, well, I have to get on board. I have to get into the rhythm and the flow and do this because their body, their action is working on this. So once you start doing something, your brain, your mood will come on board. It's sometimes hard to control our thoughts and our feelings. However, we can control our actions. So whenever you think about this presentation, think mood follows action. Those are some key words. So thinking about back, I asked you, what is one assignment, one project that you're thinking of doing? And what is the one that you are thinking about doing and putting off, like not doing? And think about for yourself, is there anything that I shared with you today that will help you stop procrastinating on that task? Will you meet with the writing center? Will you stay a bit longer at school if that's accessible for you? Will you talk to your instructor? Will you just do one question? So what is the next first step you can take? So in a bit of summary, I do want to share one. I always find that students are experts at learning strategies. And one student shared that one tip about procrastination too is that think about what you do when you're procrastinating. So for example, if there's I don't know, a series that you're streaming that you really want to watch and you think, okay, I should work on my assignment, but I'm going to watch an episode. So you're procrastinating. Use that series and the next episode as your reward. And somebody who the student was in a heavy math program. And what she would do is she knew that her favorite show was 40 minutes. And she knew that each math question was 10 minutes in length. So she would tell herself she'd solve 4 math questions and then she'd reward herself with a show. So she would get 10 minutes of TV or streaming or screen time, 10 minutes for each question. So she would build up a 40-minute reward bank, which I thought was really good to use your procrastination pull as the reward system. So as a bit of a recap here, so I hope that that I know this has been a lot of information here, but how can we think about procrastination now? We're not thinking about it as time management issue. We're thinking of it as a self-regulation, a mood regulation issue. We give in to feel good, even though we know that there's negative consequences. Our stress can increase, the time to do the task decreases, and quality might suffer because of that stress and that less time. What is the reward for procrastination? Well, we feel good in the moment, but again, it's looking at the big picture, the long term. And what are two downsides? I mentioned this a few times. You still have to do the task and you have less time. What happens if you wait till the last night and you get sick with the flu the night before, or you have a sick baby at home and you have to take care and you want to take care of your baby in the nighttime and you don't get time to study? So the piece about waiting till the last minute is life can get in the way. So the more you study, you space out your studying, you space out your work, you do a little bit each day. It doesn't really matter what happens a week before because you are prepared and you've done the work. And again, it's easier to do a little bit of something 10 minutes a day than to try and do a lot the night before. And hopefully we can all finish that quick sentence that mood follows action. So do the next thing and you'll see that you'll start to feel good about it and you'll appreciate the benefits of doing that task will have. I've highlighted a few of our supports. You can always visit us at you could even, go on the Red River website or search us in your search engine. We're the Academic Success Center at Red River College Polytech. And there are so many free services to students. So please, I encourage you to try one of them. Try one peer tutoring session, one staff tutoring session, one drop-in session with a writing center. Look at the suite that we have and see if there's anything that we can do to help you, succeed or do well at college. And a big bouquet. Say thank you for your time today. I know you are busy. And here we are, tutoring at rrc.ca, or you can come into either library and just say hi and ask how to access any of our supports. You can also, when you go into the ASC website, there is a link to tutoring, and you can book your own tutoring sessions. And that's it for us. This is the wrap up of our series. You can catch all of them on our website under Academic Coaching and Study Skills. The recordings will be made available. I thank you so much for your time and have a very good rest of the day.